Hi there, welcome to a series of videos called English for Emerson. Get yourself something to write with and something to write on, hopefully some lined paper, and we'll be ready to go. We do some English reading and writing on this channel, basic English, and lately we've been doing something called folk sayings. I'll put it up here, folk sayings. These are little one-sentence sayings, basically, from the old times. They have a little bit of wisdom in them, even though they don't have anything to do with our modern life. They're still part of our language, and they carry not only wisdom from the old times, but also, if you don't understand these sayings and you haven't heard them before, the language just doesn't quite make as much sense because people use these things all the time. And maybe they don't use them as much as they did back in the old days, but I say this stuff all the time. So, if nothing else, if you're going to be able to understand me, well then, it helps to understand some of these folk sayings. We got one today. Here we go. It's going to start with a capital R. Straight line down. Then we do a bubble off to the side here. And then we put the leg on it. That's not bad for a capital R. And then we got an O, M, E. What does that spell? That spells Rome. Well, this is how you spell Rome in terms of the city in Italy, called Rome, okay? We're talking about Rome in Italy. Whoa, those old timers knew about some geography. They knew about the world too. I don't mind telling you. Here we go. Now we got wasn't. Wasn't. What the heck is that? That's a was with an N apostrophe T. This is how we take two words, was not. I'll put them up here. Was not. And we shorten it up into wasn't with an apostrophe. The apostrophe kicks out the O in not, and then it joins two words, was not, into one word, wasn't. Rome wasn't. It's just how we say it. We combine words and we shorten them up in English. So it just rolls, it flows easier. It's easier to say. It's easier to say wasn't than was not. Do you understand that English is a lazy, sloppy language? I'm telling you, it really is. Sometimes people are so lazy and sloppy the way they speak, I can hardly understand them. It's the truth. Rome wasn't built. Oh, built, okay. B-U-I-L-T. Rome wasn't built. What does it mean to built? It means it was already built. Meaning we're not building it. To build something is to actively be building a house right now. Let's build a house. It's something you're going to do, or you're doing it. If it's already built, it means it was already taken care of. It's already been done. Okay? Rome wasn't built in a day. There we go. Rome wasn't built in a day. Notice that all my letters stop at the bottom line. All the way. Until my last letter, which is the Y. It's the only one that goes below the bottom line. Okay? There's only a few letters that can hang down below that bottom line, and the Y is one of them. And I just love it. Because I love to get out of the lines. I always have. Rome wasn't built in a day. What in the heck does this mean? And you'll notice that the word day has that strange ending, A-Y on the end of it. It's almost like it's a silent Y. The Y can do all kinds of different things. Sometimes at the end of a word, it'll make the sound I. Sometimes at the end of a word, it'll make the sound E. Sometimes at the end of a word, it'll make the sound A. You never can tell. In this particular case, the ending AY makes the sound A, like day or say or way. Very common ending. Rome wasn't built in a day. You're going to hear this, I'm telling you, in English. Why are the people in the old times talking about Rome of all places? I have no idea. But they could say it about anything. They could say it about Paris, I guess. They could say it about Cairo in Egypt. Or they could say it about the pyramids in Egypt. I don't know. I don't know why they say it about Rome. But at one time, you have to understand something, that Rome was the greatest empire on the face of the earth. Back in the time of Jesus and Mary and Joseph, Rome was a great empire. What's an empire? An empire is when one nation expands and starts to overtake other countries and basically gets absolutely massive and essentially has control over a large part of the world. It becomes an empire. There's been many empires over the course of history, going back thousands of years. And for a long time, and one of the greatest empires on the face of the earth was Rome. Absolutely incredible. Well, what made the Roman Empire so fantastic? Well, a lot of things. They had a particularly effective form of government. They had incredible military technology for the time. Whoever was planning how to fight, well, for the time that they were in, they were geniuses, Of course, they didn't have the modern technology that we have today with all the crazy weapons that we have today. But for the time, they had very, very, very good military planning, and they were just able to beat the tar out of people. And so they kept expanding. Well, one of the other things about Rome that was very, very, very impressive, and they had very good technology, was their building. Well, I'll put up some images of some of the architecture. Architecture is the style of buildings and of Rome. They were able to build roads like no one had ever seen. Well, at the time, you got to think about it. They didn't have concrete. They didn't have pavement. So getting places was difficult. Well, they were able to build roads better than anybody. And plan out the city and plan their buildings. And the other thing they were able to do was get water to places that no one had ever been able to before. They did it with something called aqueducts. What does that mean? I put up a picture of some. They were able to build these ways for water to get from place to place using arches. An arch is something that I'll put up a picture of one. And they developed this thing called the arch in their architecture and their buildings that gave them the ability to create roads and aqueducts and buildings that were bigger, more impressive, more functional than anything that had ever been seen up to that point on Earth. Extremely good builders. Unbelievable. And people go from all over the world to Rome to this day just to go look at the architecture that they had, like the Roman Colosseum. I'll put up a picture here. It's incredible. Incredible stadiums and amphitheaters that they built. They're just absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. And a lot of it was based on the arch. There's kind of a new thing in terms of the technology of building was the arch. It enabled them to build bridges like nobody had ever seen before. And listen, if you were really, really good at building bridges and roads, well, naturally your empire had the ability to expand because you could get things from place to place. Not only water, but armies, people. Well, Rome wasn't built in a day, people. It took a long time and a lot of effort to build all these roads and all these massive buildings and amphitheaters and coliseums and aqueducts. It was extremely impressive. Why did the old timers, why did they come up with this saying, Rome wasn't built in a day? Well, because they're trying to teach you and teach everybody, teach us, kind of talk to themselves. It's like anything you do in life is going to take some time. Rome wasn't built in a day. The most impressive empires, cities, whatever, take time to plan and build. Therefore, what they're trying to say here is put one foot in front of the other, little by little by little by little by little by little, one brick at a time, one brick at a time, one brick at a time, and eventually you're able to accomplish great things. But things take time. So you're going to hear this about anything. It's like, well, I'm struggling to get through school, and gosh, all these classes I have to take, and all these words I have to learn, and all these papers I have to write, and all these books I have to read, and oh my gosh, it just takes so much time. Someone might tell you, hey, Rome wasn't built in a day. You just got to keep putting one foot in front of the other, and eventually you'll get it done. Good advice. How about building wealth? I'm going to be done here. Don't worry. I'm going to be done. How about building wealth, getting rich, having a lot of money? Well, Rome wasn't built in a day. It starts with $1. Or whatever currency that you're saving in. You start with 1, and then you get 2, and then you get 3, and pretty soon you got 10. Then you work your way up to 100. You keep on going with that. Eventually you get 1,000. You keep on investing and saving, and it starts to grow, and pretty soon you got $1 million. Well, you didn't get $1 million in one day necessarily. Well, probably not. It takes time and effort. Time and effort. Time and effort. And eventually you can accomplish great things. But you don't want to... Sometimes we think that things have to happen instantaneously. It doesn't work that way usually. Rome wasn't built in a day. To build anything impressive takes some time and some effort. That's what they're trying to teach us here. Be patient and put the work and the time into it. Eventually some great things can be accomplished. There it is. Now I'm going to shut up. Rome wasn't built in a day. Great wisdom from the old times. And we got another saying about Rome coming up in a future lesson. I can't hardly wait for it. See you next time on English for Emerson. Bye-bye.